Hi everyone, my name is Kevin and welcome back to another album review where today I'm talking about the fourth album from the Chemical Brothers, Come With Us. We've made it into the 2000s Chemical Brothers. They released three albums in the 90s. All three of them I think are absolute classics. And this next album is widely considered to be one of their weakest efforts. I personally disagree with it because I still think the album is great. Although I do have one thing to say. This is the first Chemical Brothers album that, for me, isn't at least in the solid 9 rating. So this isn't going to be that much of a positive review. It's still going to be positive, but there's not going to be that much positiveness. Um, Unlike in the last in the last three album reviews of these guys. Anyway, like seriously, many people have said, like, what should I say? This is like their last album to be like every single one of their albums is like big beat, but like this is their last album to go towards the big beat era normally because on their next album Push the Button they got more poppier and more political, only for one track though, or no, in the latter. But yeah, this album I'll just go down track by track. I can't really think of an intro. I'm sorry. So the first track is the title track, and it is such an explosive banger. Oh my goodness, I just love this track. It opens with all these dramatic synths and the pianos and orchestras. I think like violins all the time, and of course we have the vocal samples telling the listener to leave their earth behind. Our universe is at your side. Behold the coming back. And then the drums come in, and they're just intense, and it just sounds so amazing. Like these synths are winding up and down, rear, rear, like that. And yeah, the this whole track just sounds amazing. It just has amazing synths all over it. A fantastic beat that just sounds amazing, and I just freaking love this track. It's probably my favorite first track on any Chemicals album, though Galvanize might be better from Bush to Button. I have no idea. But anyway, next track is It Began in Afrika, which is kind of like this album's Under the Influence. Once again, it's the second track. Has a more fast paced beat and just sounds really kind of, I don't know if it sounds atmospheric, but it sounds really cool. And judging from the title, it goes for a more like African type track, like all those like world music. This is like a world music influenced track, which I think has Congas in it or something, and maracas and such. I don't know. It just has more, world music type instruments. It's hence the title. But yeah, I just enjoyed this track a lot. And it transitions very well into not Galvanize, what am I saying? Into Galaxy Bounce, which is only like 3.5 minutes long. I think it's the shortest, yeah, it's the shortest track on the album. But it just sounds really catchy with the main vocal sample going, did it, no, I don't know what the vocal sample is saying. And then it has an amazing funky bass line that I enjoy the hell out of. And it just sounds really enjoyable, but this isn't like the full version of Galaxy Bounce. Not only because it transitions out of It Began in Afrika, but also because the full version is included on the Lara Croft Tomb Raider soundtrack, which is like almost 5 minutes long. It's the full version is also the full length version is also included on the second disc of the Singles '93 to '03 compilation. But anyway, next up is Star Guitar, another big single. This track isn't really okay. This track it sounds pretty good, but like it's kind of a weird. Like I've started to hear this track a lot when I listen to the Chemical Brothers, and I got kind of sick of it. I'm sick of hearing it too much, but I still think it's a good track. I mean, I don't really get sick of it. I just thought I just heard it too much. But still, it sounds really cool, and the vocal samples in the background just sound eerie and very weird, and pretty beautiful actually. And yeah, the beat sounds pretty cool. The synths, sound cool, and everything just sounds really good in this track. And these first four tracks are actually pretty good. Like I really like them. But then there's the track Hoops, which I also really like. But like the intro and outro, I like more chilled out, and it's like a sample. I know I have no idea from where, I forgot. Um, And it sounds the intro and outro sound pretty weird, but like the section in between with like the most big beat in it, it sounds really weird. Like it doesn't sound that much, big beat style, if you want to call it that. But like it just sounds really weird. It has a weird beat, and there's a bunch of like synth effects flying all around that, like one that like play once and then they fade out and like fade back in again. But every time they're played, they get way louder. Most obvious, um, most obvious. How do I say this? You know, most obvious example would have to be the one part where it's like where it sounds like someone yells, and then it fades out and then gets way louder each time, and it plays like it's really fast, and it sounds like it's way louder, and it sounds like a dog barking, which I always found which I've always found kind of hilarious. But yeah, this track is pretty weird, and I don't know what else to say about it. It's just really weird, but I still like it. And then My Elastic Eye, not really one of my favorites. It has the melodic sample that goes do 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 kind of like that. And it has a really weird bassy section after the intro, which just sounds really weird. And sometimes these synths play these synths that go from up to down. Always play sometimes. Giving me some mild Kraftwerk vibes. And yeah, this song sounds pretty good, but not really one of my favorites on here. Also, not really one of my favorites from here is "The State We're In," featuring Beth Orton on vocals again. And this track just sounds really chilled out. I mean, all the Chemical Brothers tracks, all three of them where Beth Orton was on there. They all sounded pretty, chill. Alive Alone sounds really creepy, and it's more of a depressing song with depressing lyrics, but it sounds pretty good and more chill out. And Where Do I Begin? Well, only the first half of Where Do I Begin is really like a chill out track. The second half is way more intense. And this song, well, almost the entirety of it is like pretty subtle, and it sounds pretty beautiful, but it's like not really one of my favorites from here. But like at the end of the track, it slowly transitions into Denmark. The next track, which is really enjoyable, starts out with all these percussion and cowbell sounds, which just sound really cool. And then of course has the this track is kind of like a combination between Galaxy Bounce and It Began in Afrika. I will never stop referring to that track in that way. But anyway, so like I said, a combination of Galaxy Bounce and It Began in Africa, with the funky bass line of the former and the fast beat of the latter. And it sounds pretty cool, actually. It's really weird and like catchy, and it's amazing. It ends a little weird, but it's still pretty cool. But then Pioneer Skies, it has a cool title, but like it has these weird synths that sound like a children's song or a child's like a nursery song or something like that. But it's still good in my opinion. But like seriously, this track is really one of my favorites. And then after I don't really enjoy the first half of this song that much. With those synths that kind of sound like they're imitating like a nursery rhyme or something like that. And then in the second half, there's this big build up that goes on from the second minute to the third minute, and it doesn't pay off. You just get more childish sounding synths. This is still a good track, but like seriously, it's definitely my least favorite on here. And this wouldn't have been a good closer, in my opinion. And I am so glad that this album ends with "The Test," featuring the vocals of the Verve of the frontman of the Verve, Richard Ashcroft. And this track is, I think it's my second favorite track that the Chemicals have ever made behind Out of Control. It just sounds really cool. The intro is really creepy and atmospheric and cool. But then the guitars come in and this just sounds amazing. And then the beat comes in and everything. This track is so freaking catchy and amazing. I just love it. Nearly 8 minutes long, and it's freaking beautiful, atmospheric, creepy, and catchy and amazing. All five of those at the same time. And Richard Ashcroft's vocals are always really awesome. Not just on the verses, but on the really catchy chorus. And of course, after that, he says, "Did I pass? Yes, the test," multiple times. I mean, he sings them. And the outro is also pretty creepy, and this track is definitely the best closer to any Chemicals album in my opinion. I just freaking love it. So yeah, I guess that's it. That's all my opinions on Come With Us. So overall, do I think this is the Chemicals' best album? Probably, definitely not. They do have better albums than this, but still, this is still a great album which has great melodies, great beats, and everything. There are a few tracks that don't really stick out to me that much, like My Elastic Eye and The State We're In, which are actually pretty good tracks. But Pioneer Skies is kind of a weird track, and it's just good, in my opinion. Not pretty good or really good. So yeah, I guess that's it. I'm overall feeling an 8.7 out of 10 on this album. Favorite tracks Come With Us, It Began in Afrika, Galaxy Bounce, Star Guitar, Hoops, um, Denmark, and The Test. Least favorite track, easily Pioneer Skies. Well, of course, this is just my opinion. If you have any opinions, then you could just leave them in the comments below. You can disagree with my opinions if you want. And like and subscribe to this channel if you're new. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow. Boop.